Hey, so good morning, good afternoon, good day, wherever the heck you are, whatever the heck you're doing. I am grateful for your time and attention. Hey, today I am super excited to talk to Lee Salz. Lee is the author of Sales Differentiation. It's a fantastic book. I read it when it first came out. It's been out for a little while, and it is fantastic. I just went through it again this morning in preparation for the interview, and it's great. He's a leading sales management strategist and the CEO of Sales Architects. He's a recognized expert in sales differentiation who works with senior executives and business owners across all industries, helping their salespeople win more deals at the prices they want. Now, he's also a sought-after keynote speaker and a consultant on sales differentiation, sales force development, and a lot of great stuff. Now, his new book, Sales Differentiation, is a winner. Top Sales World awarded it the silver medal. Second place, which to me is freaking amazing because there were some amazing books that came out in 2018. So this book is one you want, but I'm just excited to talk to Lee today. Lee, how you doing, man?
Great, Phil. How are you?
I'm spectacular. Thank you. It's so good that you're here.
I'm delighted to be here. It's always fun with you.
Yeah, try to make it fun, right? That's the goal, man. Fun and learn. What could be better, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I know, Phil, you've got a bunch of questions you want to ask me, but if I could ask you a question first. How many?
All right, sure.
During the interview,
I'll let you ask me a question. Sure.
So, Phil, how many guests do you think you've had on your show over the years?
Oh, boy. I bet I've probably had, 150, 200 guests over the past years.
Okay, so experts in various aspects of business, right?
Absolutely.
So then your viewers are probably wondering, how is this guy Lee Salz on Phil's show today? Why would he be selected by Phil? Since you didn't tell him, I'll tell him.
All right. Tell me, Lee, why are you here, man?
I'm the best sales consultant in the world. What do you all think of me now?
Wow. So there we go. We're going to start with the big drop. He's the best sales consultant in the world. Lee, why would you say that, man? Come on. What proof do you have that that's true?
None.
Wow. And yet, isn't that what a lot of us do? We're the best. I'm number one of what, right?
Yeah, so for everyone watching this interview, I'm sure I have not endeared myself to you. You're not saying, boy, at least someone I want to have come to my next sales meeting, or I want to have dinner with him. You're saying, what an arrogant jerk, right? Yeah. But that's exactly what you said, Phil. This is what salespeople do. They come marching into a prospect's office preaching that what they have to sell is the best. And they think they're endearing themselves to others, and there's this eye roll. It's always there. You may not see it. It's the buyer eye roll. It's, oh, here we go.
Yep.
Yeah, you're not building relationships. You're actually turning people off when you do it. But it makes you wonder, why would salespeople even use the word best? And I mentioned one. One is to build relationships. And, of course, we failed to do so. And the second is to differentiate ourselves from the competition. So let me go to the other extreme. How many salespeople do you think come marching in saying, you know, product is so-so, service is pretty good, our technology is how many would you like to buy? Every salesperson's coming in preaching that they're the best. So our second goal in using the word best to be different, we failed there as well. Yeah. So it's a word that we've got to get out of the business using. It's not our place to use the word best, but rather we should be positioning different. Imagine starting a sales call where instead of saying, you know, we're the best of the best of the best, what if you said, you know, I'm not going to share with you that what we have to offer is the best, but what I will share with you are some differences in what we have to offer that our clients find beneficial, and you can decide for yourself if that's meaningful to you as well. Ah, how refreshing, right? Yeah. Now that's different.
That is different. That not only is that different, but now I'm not rolling my eyes. I'm leaning in and I'm like, okay, you're going to share something, hopefully that's meaningfully different, not just different for different sake, right? Like mentioning that I wear orange glasses, that's not meaningful to anybody but me, right? That's not a differentiator. So what does it mean, Lee, for sales differentiation for those that haven't yet read your book?
But let's come back to that. You mentioned the orange glasses, and we know each other a long time. How many pairs of different colored glasses do you have?
14.
14. Okay. And of course, that's your trademark, if you will. That's how people have gotten to know you, that you synchronize what you wear with your glasses. And it's different, but it's not necessarily meaningful to the folks you do business with.
That's right.
And that's a common mistake that I find when we talk about differentiation, is that salespeople will talk about things that are different about their company, but not necessarily meaningful to a buyer. We have proprietary technology. You know, we have a patent. Okay. So those are things that are meaningful to you, and God bless, bravado, right? That you're passionate about your company, but why would you waste valuable FaceTime minutes with a prospect talking about something that's not meaningful to them? In my Sales Differentiation Minute video series, to make this point, I started the video off, I was wearing my wife's sun hat. And I said, so what's different? I'm obviously wearing this sun hat. I said, is this meaningful to you as a viewer? And of course it's not, and I flipped it away. But that's so important that we treasure those FaceTime minutes and only share information that's going to be meaningfully different with a buyer.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the key there is to the buyer. That's
Yes.
really the most important thing, because we don't live in a seller-centric world like we used to. There's no shortage of information. I mean, people can Google and get more information than they ever need to make the decision. So how do we, let's talk about what the heck is differentiation, and then let's talk about what the difference is between, somebody who isn't differentiated versus someone who is.
Okay. So this whole topic of sales differentiation is something that I've been, we'll say, incubating for, let's see, I'm 49. I was probably 17 or 18 years old when I first got the bug of this. And I'm going to be politically incorrect, which of course will be different. I draw a parallel of, I said, I got pregnant with this idea when I was a teenager, but I wasn't ready to come out and share it with the world until now. This whole incubation period. But it's a philosophy that I developed during this period of time, and it's applicable to any industry. Doesn't matter what you're selling, how big or small your company is. If it's a B2B, B2C, government, it's applicable. Because it doesn't matter what you sell, there's always going to be a conversation about the dreaded price, right? Prospects trying to justify the price that you've put in front of them relative to what they're getting. And that's when the game begins. Did the salesperson demonstrate enough value to support the price that's been put in front? And a lot of salespeople, they struggle with that. And so the core objective with sales differentiation strategy is to help salespeople win more deals at the prices they want. And there's two parts to the philosophy. One is sales differentiation around what you sell. And so often I find companies that they say, boy, we have such meaningful differentiators. We're so passionate about it inside the four walls of our building, but we are completely ineffective in helping someone on the other side of the desk become as passionate as we are. Well, you might as well not have any differentiators if you can't communicate them in a compelling fashion. So that's where the first half of the book really gets into how to do that in a meaningful way. The second half of the book is sales differentiation around how you sell. Every interaction, every one between salesperson and a buyer provides an opportunity to provide meaningful value that's different than what your competition is doing. But we don't think about that. See, salespeople, when they think about differentiation, they say that's a company's job. Got to differentiate the product. And they're not wrong. There is an obligation and an opportunity to do that. But they also have an opportunity to look at every interaction, from a prospecting call to how they handle that initial meeting, through a request for references, even when they ask for an RFP, and they say that we're going to RFP, there are opportunities to be different. And we miss that. I'll give you one. So, people say, well, what I sell is a commodity. All right, well, let me pick an easy commodity for you. Toilet paper. Do you know how many differences there are with toilet paper?
Well, let's see. There's maybe 1 ply or 2 ply.
Right.
and maybe there's recycled paper or regular paper. That's about it. Or they sell the pack size, 4-pack, 8-pack, 16,
Yep.
32, or holy crap, a whole room full of poop paper.
Right. And there's color.
Yep, there we go, color, yep.
Right. And there's number of sheets per roll.
Okay.
And there's the industrial size and the home size, right? The industrial one, which is about big.
Yep.
Right. And then there's the texture of material. So and we can go on and on and on. And that's, you talk about a commodity, right? And everybody buys a different brand of toilet paper for a variety of different reasons.
Yeah.
So if you think you sell a commodity, come back to this idea of toilet paper, the simplest commodity.
Yeah. So, okay. So we just came up with a list without trying of 15 differentiators in toilet paper. How the heck do we know what's meaningful, Lee?
Well, we need to research our buyers. Here, I'll give you, we'll stay on this subject. We're going to keep talking potty. Have you come across a product called Dude Wipes?
Oh, so I actually, I've heard of Dude Wipes, and I go to Dollar Shave Club and get one wipe Charlie's. So, yep. So there's 2 right there. Yes.
There you go. So Dude Wipes, they were actually on Shark Tank, and they're trying to disrupt an industry, a solution, if you will, that's age-old, right? There is a set way that we do it, toilet paper with all the different options that we've just talked about, and they have a price tag on their product that is exponentially more than the conventional solution.
Absolutely.
And so how do we help someone see these differences? Well, there was an article in Men's Health magazine, and the CEO raised an interesting point. Are you ready for something gross?
Absolutely. Hit me.
Okay. CEO said, if you got chocolate on your arm, would you wipe it off with a dry paper towel and feel clean?
No, probably not.
You get the metaphor, though, don't you?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And that's what he's trying to do, is disrupt that conventional thinking, help you think differently about the solutions you have or could have.
Interesting. So we didn't say out front, hey, you need to wet that toilet paper, or if you can't, you're not going to be able to wipe your butt right. You asked a question that made me think, chocolate on my arm. I can figure that one out. I'm not real smart, but I got that one, Lee. That's a good question.
So there's a question I've been asking salespeople for years, all across the country, up in Canada, these big audiences, and every one of them has given me the same answer. Who knows more about the world of potential solutions in your industry? You or the people you sell to?
God, it better be me if I'm in sales.
Right. So on the one hand, and you mentioned this before about the internet, right? There's this new fad called the internet, and we're saying that consumers are better educated than they ever were before. But every salesperson agrees with me that we know more than they do. They don't know how to buy our stuff, which to me presents both an obligation and an opportunity. The obligation is, if you're in sales, I believe you have an obligation to help people make an informed buying decision, which also then gives you an opportunity to shape buyer decision criteria. They don't know how to buy your stuff. And so the question I just shared with you with Dude Wipes, that's an example of what I call a positioning question. See, I said that they don't know how to buy your stuff, but if you come into an executive suite with the approach of lecturing them because they don't know, yeah, you're going to have a very short meeting.
Yeah.
So you need to ask questions that help them think differently about the solutions they have or could have. Now, one of the mistakes we make in sales is during discovery meetings. We ask challenge questions or pain questions, and we limit our questioning there because that's what we've been trained to do. You got to find the pain. You got to find the challenges they're having or opportunities for improvement. Well, coming back to the premise before, we know more than the people that we're selling to about the world of potential solutions. So it's like asking a blind person what they see if we only rely on the pain side of the equation. So we need to ask questions to help them think differently about the solutions they have or could have. I have a client in the waste business, the garbage business. See, in the state of Minnesota, every homeowner, every business needs to contract for their own trash removal. So Phil, Wednesday mornings, there is a parade of garbage trucks coming down my street representing all these different haulers. And each truck seemingly does the same thing. Pulls up to the home, an arm extends out, grabs the can, lifts it up, pours the contents into the truck, puts it back down, drives away, and you get a bill at the end of the month. So CEO of one of these companies reached out to me and said, I believe that we do have meaningful differentiation. We shouldn't be fighting over price. So they went through a program with me, and he was right. They had several differentiators, and one of them that came out was that they have this truck called the Can Be Clean truck. And this is a truck that cleans your garbage cans. Twice a year, this truck follows the garbage truck, cleans your garbage cans. They're the only ones in the state of Minnesota that offer this to their clients. Excuse me, and it's free. They don't charge their clients additionally for it. But their salespeople were struggling with, how do I get into this conversation with a homeowner? So we developed a positioning question, an open-ended question designed to help someone think differently about the solutions they have or could have. So these are salespeople knocking on doors, making calls to homeowners. The first thing out of their mouth after they introduce themselves, when's the last time you had your garbage cans cleaned? Because we know they never have unless they did it themselves. And if you've ever cleaned your garbage cans, you know what a miserable experience that is, right,
That's
Phil?
disgusting. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And right in that moment, we've helped someone think differently about something as simple as trash, not because of something we've said, but rather a question that we've asked. Yeah, why isn't someone cleaning my garbage cans? Because if you took a traditional sales approach, knocked on the door, hey, I want to talk to you about your garbage, door slammed shut. No one wants to talk about it. It's not perceived as a problem. Every truck seemingly does the same thing. But if you ask a question like that, designed to help someone think differently, now you can get into further conversation.
Wow. Wow. That's a powerful question, a powerful way to go about this. So is the questioning, is that how we build relationships with our buyers, Lee? Or how do we get to the point where they even trust us enough to be honest with the answers that they're giving us?
Yeah, so over the years, I've built sales teams in lots of different industries. And I was in an interview yesterday, and someone asked me about one of my all-time best secrets for sales, and that was be insatiable when it comes to learning. When my salespeople would take me on a sales call, it never felt like Dad was coming along to supervise the situation. I was there, and it felt like a consultant was in the room. And the first time one of my salespeople went on a call with me, or I went on with them, I should say, they always came out of the meeting saying, how did you know all of that stuff? At my fingertips. All you got to do is spend the time and do it. Whatever is important to your buyer needs to be important to you. And that to me is, again, an opportunity to be different, where if you can arm yourself with the information that will help me make an informed buying decision, yeah, I'm going to be really interested in buying from you rather than someone else who's trying to push their wares.
Excellent. So in this digital age of selling, right, where pretty much every salesperson is on LinkedIn, every salesperson has access to Google and the internet, and these tools are not really the differentiators that they once promised to be. How do we differentiate ourselves digitally, Lee?
I guess I'll come back to what I talk about in the book around the sales crime theory. Because, and I'll tell you, one of the things I hate about LinkedIn right now, and Phil, I haven't had a conversation with you about this topic, but I know it irritates you, and I'll bet you it irritates everybody that's watching this. You know, on Facebook, we're kind of sensitive in who we accept into our world, right? Yep. On LinkedIn, we kind of accept everybody. But what I dread on LinkedIn is, and you can measure this with an egg timer, when I hit accept to when I get a solicitation email saying buy my stuff, drives me insane. And that leads to an instant, okay, you are no longer part of my network, right? So there's this concept I talk about in the book called the sales crime theory, and it works like this. Imagine it's 2 in the morning, and there's a pounding on your front door. It's the police. Phil, what'd you do last night? They want to talk with you about a crime that's recently been committed. Now, they don't randomly pick your home and you for a conversation. They followed a trail of evidence and put together a crime theory, and that's led them to you for a conversation right now. So a sales crime theory takes that concept, it's a great metaphor for what I'm suggesting that you do, and you're on a search for the answer to one critical question. Why should they, meaning your prospects, why should they want to have a conversation with you right now? Not the other way around. It's so often we say, well, why should we go talk? Why should they want to have a conversation with us right now? So it gives more context to pre-call research. So you need to know what the triggers are in your respective industry that would say, okay, if this is going on, they should want to have a conversation with us right now. For example, if one of the services you provide is laying out the technology for a conference room, it's a client call I had about an hour ago, so it's fresh in my mind. So, for example, if they're renovating their offices or they're just moving into offices or a new building is being constructed, those are all examples of the moments in time where that would be in the forefront of their mind. And it says that they should want to have a conversation with us right now because we have solutions that would help them have the right setup for that conference room. And so you could build off of that and have that conversation different than someone else who's randomly calling. I'll give you two scenarios. Imagine what you sell from a manufacturing perspective reduces costs and improves efficiency. And you're reading in the local business journal an interview with CEO of a company, manufacturing firm, whose objective is to reduce costs and improve efficiency. You now have sales crime theory evidence to reach out to the VP of manufacturing who's going to be tasked with those two items. Now, here's two scenarios. Salesperson one reaches out and says, hey, I was just reading an article in the business journal with your CEO talking about an initiative for the upcoming year to reduce costs and increase efficiency. I'm guessing that's going to fall to your desk. What's something that we help VPs of manufacturing address? Scenario two. Hey, you're the VP of manufacturing. I'm guessing you're responsible for reducing costs and improving efficiency, and that's something that we help companies address. Who's more likely to get that meeting? The first one, right?
Of course. Well, they clearly put context around why they're having that conversation.
Exactly. And we've differentiated ourselves right in the first moment. See, there's another question I'd love to ask salespeople, and I've never had a single salesperson answer this question correctly.
Uh-oh.
I say, who's your biggest competitor? And they'll roll off 2-3 companies that they run into. I say, yeah, I'm sure those are pretty good competitors, but there's one that's even bigger. And then someone in the room will say, you mean the old sales trainer one, the status quo, the choice to do nothing. Also a formidable competitor, but there's one even bigger. You know who it is?
Is it me?
No, it's not
the salesperson? No.
Nope.
Who is it? I don't know.
It's every salesperson calling on that same person that you are trying to get a meeting. See, we're egocentric. We're thinking just relative to our world, but we're calling on executives, and the higher the level, the more responsibility they have, which means more salespeople are calling them, representing every element in that chain. And in the history of business, no one has ever had the job description that said, your job is every hour on the hours meet with a salesperson. It's never happened, right?
No.
So we've got to be different in that first interaction to be the one that intrigues them enough so that they want to meet with us rather than the hundreds or thousands of salespeople reaching out to them. And I'll tell you, once you look at it from that perspective, your whole approach to prospecting changes.
Wow. That's so interesting. So one of the ways that we can do that, I think, digitally is to make sure that we're reading what our prospects are reading. So, and where they're being featured in, right? Because you talk about learning and how we ask better questions. I mean, that comes with having better information, because it's not enough to just know our industry. We have to understand the big business problem. So we need to, so what? Wall Street Journal, local business journal. What are you reading, Lee, to stay ahead of this?
Yeah, and so you want to read based on role. Here, I'll give you another scenario.
Okay.
Phil, today's a very exciting day for us because you and I sell copiers for a living.
Woohoo!
And our R&D team for the last 6 years has been working on this new copier, and today they've announced we're releasing it. It is the first copier on the planet that can print 50 Shades of Gray.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Isn't that exciting? The first one. And tomorrow we have a meeting with the CFO to talk about the new copier. How many of you viewers will be talking about the 50 Shades of Gray with this CFO? Gosh, I hope none of you, for so many reasons. Most importantly, that CFOs don't care about colors, shades, and hues. They care about the financial impact. Then that afternoon, you have a meeting with a vice president of marketing. Doesn't care about the financial impact, does care about print quality, print speed, the color, shades, hues. And then the day after, you have a meeting with an IT manager. Doesn't care about financial impact, doesn't care about color, shades, and hues, but does care about security, reliability, maintenance, and integration. Those are 3 completely different meetings, but what we are selling is the same. Doesn't change at all. And so we're not mindful enough about that point. One of the things I get salespeople on, I say, do you have an elevator pitch? And they'll say, oh, yes, I do. I said, that's one of the biggest mistakes you can have in sales. And that is contrary to every book that's ever been written.
Come on. You don't need an elevator pitch? Come on,
Nope.
Lee.
Nope. My issue is not the concept of an elevator pitch. It's thinking of it in the singular sense, putting the word "and" before it. We need to have an elevator pitch for the various decision influencers we're going to interact with. So if I'm talking with a CFO about this copier, I'm going to have a very different elevator pitch than I am if I'm talking with the IT manager, and even different again for that marketing manager in this scenario. That is if I want to be successful in engaging them and have them interested in wanting to buy from me.
Wow. So it starts with the who, then it goes to the why, right? So the who is who's our buyer, who buys our services,
That's
and
right.
then why do they care? What's in it for them? And then maybe we can talk about the what and the how, if
Correct.
we understand those first. Is that right?
Yeah. And so when we talk about differentiators, not all of them matter to everyone. And that example is really highlighted with that copier. So if we look at our differentiator portfolio and say which ones are relevant based on the person I'm meeting with, or based on the circumstances. For example, there's a certain set of differentiators that you'll have that are appropriate relative to a particular competitor or a challenge that they might be having. So we need to be thinking through those aspects before we just pick up the phone or show up on someone's doorstep and say, hey, tell me what it is you do around here.
So that isn't a good opener anymore. What do you do, Mr. and Ms. CIO, right? That not a good one?
No, that doesn't work. I'll give you another one. There's a best practice. I love challenging all the best practices. Another best practice is to set the agenda for the meeting, and we've been taught to do it like this. Well, what I'd like to do today is learn about your business, tell you a little bit about us, and then we can determine next steps. Now, that seems innocuous, right? The opening is the issue. Nobody cares what you want. So when we set an agenda by saying, well, what I want to do today, well, I don't give a rat's ass what you want to do today. It's got to be in the context of them and what's going to be most helpful. You know what my favorite question is to open a meeting? And this is different.
What's that?
What did I say to you on the phone that led you to accept a meeting with me today? The answer to that question charts the course for the whole meeting.
I love that. Say that one more time, because I think that's the most powerful thing you've said yet. And you've said a lot of smart bombs. What's one more time?
What did I say on the phone that led you to accept this meeting with me today?
Awesome.
Use that as your opening question.
Wow. So, if the phone's not ringing and we're not differentiating and we're kind of dying here, Lee, if we want to move beyond the commodity of toilet paper and water like you use in your book and other things, how do we step out of that? What's one thing besides the stuff that you've shared yet, what maybe the first step that we can get to being a more differentiated salesperson?
Well, personal value differentiation would be one. It doesn't matter what you're selling or how you're selling it. The personal value, the value that you personally bring to bear. So every salesperson, whether you're new with a company, new to sales, or you've been doing this 25, 30 years, there is value that you personally bring to bear. But I find that salespeople don't take a step back and think about, what is my personal value and why does it matter to the people that I sell to? And define that strategy. That's something you could do in an hour or two on your own. Get it on paper and be able to articulate it.
Awesome. So figure out your personal value, folks. If you're not sure what that is, take some time and do that. Lee, the book, 19 different strategies here, lots of good stuff. But for viewers here and for anybody who buys the book, you're giving away some videos. So where do they go so that they can get some more videos that previously is what, $1,500, $2,500 for folks to get some videos?
Yeah, so you can buy the book anywhere. You can go to your local bookstore, Amazon, anywhere online. It's available in hardcover, Kindle, and audiobook. And regardless of where you buy it, go to salesdifferentiation.com and register for my video series, which normally is only available to my clients that go through workshop programs with me. And what I committed to was 19 weeks of once a week sending you a video to help you implement what you've read. But I've had so much fun creating these videos, Phil, it's going to be more like 50. I don't think anybody's going to matter. They're not going to mind getting more videos to help them implement the strategies that they've read about.
Wow. So going to be probably 50 strategies. Salesdifferentiation.com is the URL. Get a copy of the book, folks. It is fantastic. 19 different strategies. They're powerful. They actually work. Lee dropped a bunch of smart bombs today. Lee, if people want to follow up with you and get some questions, what's your favorite place besides, of course, salesdifferentiation.com? Do you have a favorite social media outlet where they can talk more directly to you?
I'm very active on LinkedIn, so feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I've built the largest sales management group on LinkedIn, Sales Management Executives. You can certainly join that and get involved with that group as well. And I do have a professional page on Facebook of Lee Salz.
Awesome. Awesome. So folks, if you want to sell more, you got to differentiate. This book will absolutely help you. Sales Differentiation is the book. This is Lee Salz. Lee is a great guy, shared a lot of smart stuff today. But folks, take some action. Start with your personal value statement. Take the time and go through that so that can help you grow. That can help you get going and differentiate yourself so you can sell more. Thanks so much for joining us today. And thank you so much, Lee, for being with us today. I really appreciate you.
Hey, Phil, thanks so much. This was a blast.
Absolutely. Thank you.